Hey guys, Tuck the Duck 131 here with a deck that I'm going to show you guys. This is a deck that I've been playing in Standard for a couple weeks now. I've been tweaking it. It's kind of been floating around the internet. Conley Woods wrote an article about it on Channel Fireball. Some other stuff. I saw a couple of people playing it at my local store during F&M, and I kind of fooled around with it. So yeah, we're going to go through it. We'll start with the mana base. We're going to start with, let's see, 4 Overgrown Tomb. This card, it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, like, it fixes our mana, comes into play untapped, super good. Unfortunately, there is no green-black Scryland for us, which kind of stinks, but we don't really need the Scry in the end anyway, because we're really just milling ourselves out. Like in the end, but it would definitely be better than the Gogarah Guild Gates that we're running right now to fix our mana as well. I found that my deck works well with 6 swamps, and I think there are 5 forests in here. Let's see, yeah, 5 forests. I feel you always in my opinion, you always want the black more than you want the green. I mean, earlier in the game you want the green, but then especially later on you need the black. Like if you need to top take a land, you normally want it to be black. So yeah, that's why I'm running one more swamp than forest. Then we're gonna go into our Mana Dork package. We have 4 Mana Dorks, probably the best of which being Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman is so good. He hasn't seen a lot of Standard play because he doesn't really have a target for his first ability, which is super good, especially in my deck when I'm milling out all my lands. I normally don't use his third ability. Yeah, it's third, right? Yeah, the Exile a creature to gain 2 life. Because normally, I mean, I've got Whip of Erebos to gain me life, so I don't really need the life gain. And I care about the creatures in my graveyard, whereas I don't care about the instant sorceries in my graveyard. They can either they're already in my graveyard, I can't do anything about them, or they've served their purpose and they've gotten 4 more cards in my graveyard. But definitely the mana is super good, and the black has won me games. There was one game, this is like my favorite story with the deck, where I'd swung, and there was they were gonna hit me for lethal the next turn. All my stuff was tapped out except for my single Deathrite Shaman, and I had brought them down to 2 life. I had a whip. Oh, no, I didn't have a Deathrite Shaman. I'm lying. All my stuff was tapped out. I had a Whip of Erebos, but they were still going to hit me for lethal the next turn. And I pay 4 for the whip to reanimate my Deathrite Shaman to tap a black and exile a Ghoulish Salvage from my graveyard and hit him for 2. And it was super amazing. It was great. They were pretty surprised. And then we've got 4 Elvish Mystic, which is probably the weakest mana dork in my deck. He accelerates me though, and he's good. And if he's a jump blocker in the later game, or in the early game too, honestly, because I just need creatures in my graveyard, and he fills it pretty well. Because if I tap him for a green like once or twice, like I get the value out of him. He pays for himself. And then if he dies, I'm getting even more value out of him. So it's worth it. A mana dork that I like to have stick around for a lot longer is Sylvan Kerryd. This card is so good. It's a 0/3. It blocks a ton of the creatures in the white weenie decks that people are playing, Like, I think almost every single one of them, it's got hexproof that it's super hard to deal with it, and it fixes my mana. It taps for black and green, which is really important. It's just a really good creature, and if you're playing green and you're not playing this thing, you probably should be. Now we're going to go into my Grizzly Salvage package. So obviously we've got 4 Grizzly Salvage. It's at instant speed, which is super good. And it gets stuff into my graveyard. So it's just great. There are certain games where Grizzly Salvage is worse than the other card in my deck that is very similar to this that we're going to come up to next, which is specifically against the aggressive decks. And I'll talk about that when I get to it. But this card is super good, instant speed. At the end of their turn, I can just Grizzly Salvage, dump stuff in my graveyard for my next turn, which is basically what makes the deck work. The salvage that I was talking about is Commune with the Gods, which is new from Theros. It's basically the same thing as Grizzly Salvage, except it costs a colorless instead of a black, so it's a little easier to cast. And it's at sorcery speed. And instead of grabbing a creature or a land, I grab a creature and enchantment, which, Theros, enchantments, all that stuff. Certain matchups, this is a lot better because I side in a 3rd whip. And against the aggressive decks, you really want to hit the whip because I've had games where I get down to like 1 or 2 life, and then I drop a whip and I skyrocket back up to like 26, 27 by the end of the game. And like whip is essential in the aggressive matchups because they're gonna destroy you before you can get a big Nightcaller or Nemesis Immortals out if you don't have whip or some way to gain life. And then the last one, Conley's deck had 4 of these, Drowning Filth. And I really like Drowning Filth in this deck. It's super good. It kills, a lot of the time late game, it's going to kill gods. It's going to kill almost everything. I've killed Desecration Demons, Thassa's, everything with this card. And it's super good. It's a Grizzly Salvage where it costs the same as Grizzly Salvage. It's sorcery speed. And I choose a creature. And then I basically just dump the top 4 cards into my graveyard of my library. I take top 4 cards of my library and put them in my graveyard. So I don't get to choose a Grizzly Salvage or Commune with Gods to keep one. But then that creature that I chose gets -1/-1 for each land card in my graveyard. And at the end of the game, there's a ton of land cards in my graveyard. The reason I'm only running 2 is that I'm running a couple other removal spells that I felt were a little bit better than Drowning Filth. I'm still testing them out. I'm going to put them back in, but I'm going to talk about those cards when we get to them. So now we're going to get to our bombs, our threats, the stuff that ends the game quick. First, we've got Nightcaller. If you guys don't know, Nightcaller costs double black and a colorless for a 0/0 that gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Everybody's graveyards. Opponents, mine, everybody's. But you can bestow him onto a creature for 1 colorless more, which is super good. Normally there's 6 to 12 creatures in my graveyard when I cast him, and most of the time you want to bestow him because he'll come back as a creature anyway. And I bestow him onto a creature, and all of a sudden you see this look on my opponent's face like they're kind of afraid because there's this card Nightcaller who everyone thinks is god awful. And then all of a sudden they're looking at like a 15/15 like Elvish Mystic, and they don't know how to deal with it. Which is super awesome. And yeah, it's good card. Next, a card that it's kind of funny. When Theros first came out, or it was, I don't know, like mid-November, let's say. Because my birthday is mid-November, and I got a box of Theros, and I drafted it with my friends. And we were drafting, and like half my friends who play Magic a lot had never seen this card. After like we drafted Theros like 4 or 5 times already at the shop and stuff. They'd never seen this card, and they didn't read it either. They just looked at the art, and then I destroyed them in that draft because they passed me all of these. Like, this card is such a bomb because even if you're not playing a Dredge deck, there are still going to be creatures in the graveyard that make it cheaper. And making, in this deck, it's not uncommon to have a 10/10 for 4 with this card, which is super good. Like, and then you throw a Nightcaller on it, and it's just great. Yeah, so those are my 2 super big threats. And then the final one, we have 3. Sorry about the window. I have to keep it open because my dog is right there, and she's laying in the sun. So, sorry. Hopefully, it won't affect you guys too much. I think you can still see the cards because I'm looking at the video. We've got 3 Jerrods. Jerrod is a legendary creature who costs double black, double green. And he is a 2/2, so 2/2 for 4. And I can only have 1 on the battlefield at the same time. And it doesn't seem very good. But he gets +1/+1 for each creature card in my graveyard. And then I get pay colors of black and a green to sacrifice another creature. And then, oh, goodness gracious. Hold on, let me, fix that. Okay, hopefully that fixes it. The sun will probably move again. Sun is the worst thing ever. I hate it. But Jerrod, I can sacrifice another creature for his colorless black-green ability. And then my target, each opponent loses life equal to that creature's power. Yes. Very good. Sacrifice a Nightcaller. Tons of damage. Okay, so I fixed the window again. Isn't that great? And I turned the light on because now there's almost no light in my room. Yeah, this is kind of stupid. But I have to keep it open a little in the back. Anyway, I was talking about Jerrod's sack ability. If you throw a Nightcaller on a Nemesis of Mortals, that is monstrous. I can hit for lethal with 3 mana. And if that's not lethal, then I can just pay another 3 mana and sack the Nightcaller that was on the Nemesis that came back onto the battlefield with this Bestow ability. It's crazy. You can win games just off of this ability. It's super good. It's super good. Next card, it doesn't really have a category, but I kind of threw it in here with the bombs. Whip Veribos. Whip Veribos does 2 really important things in my deck. One, it gives my creatures lifelink. Gaining life is good because it takes me a long time to set up. I need to dump a ton of stuff in my graveyard, and then I have kind of big creatures that I need to set up and just do things. So I need to be able... I lose a lot of life before I actually start to like attack and have a board state. So I need to like recover quickly before like the little white weenie decks and stuff can like overrun me. I need to be able to you know, gain all that life back that I lost. And its second ability, the bring a creature back from the graveyard ability, is also super relevant. It's won me games alone, like just by itself. I mean, like, because sometimes you dump stuff in your graveyard that you don't want in your graveyard. You come into the situation where you Ghoulish Salvage and you hit 2 Nightcallers, and you don't want a Nightcaller in your graveyard. I mean, sometimes it's okay if you've already got like 3 Nightcallers on the battlefield, but like, if you like, or like a Nemesis and a Nightcaller, and you have to choose between one of them, it's like, and you can bring them back. So Whip is super good. So now we're gonna move into our removal package. It's a removal package. I don't know what this is, but the first card in the removal package is still kind of a bomb. Shadowborn Demon. This card is really good in my deck because its drawback isn't a drawback. It's a 5-mana 5/6 flyer. And when it enters the battlefield, I blow up a non-demon creature. A lot of stuff in Magic isn't a demon. It kind of stinks right now, though, because Desecration Demon is huge and a thing, and it just so happens to be a demon, and I can't blow him up, but I can blow up a lot of other stuff. I can blow up Master of Waves. What else? There's a lot of things that I can blow up that I'm not thinking of right now. I can blow up Boros Reckoners. All kinds of Plukranos is a big one. Arbor Colossus. Big stuff like that. I can just get it out of my way. Don't have to deal with it. And it's got this little drawback here that says at the beginning of my upkeep, if there are fewer than 6 creatures in your graveyard, sacrifice a creature. Most of the time I've got 6 creatures in my graveyard. And if I don't, I can sacrifice an Elvish Mystic and put it in my graveyard, which just makes my deck better. Yeah, so Shadowborn Demon is super good. Next, we've got the 2 actual removal spells that replaced. These are the cards that I've changed from Conley's deck. I took out from his original deck. I noticed after I built my deck, he runs 2 Voyaging Satyrs. I hate Voyaging Satyr in decks that don't run Nykthos. I know it's like efficient and stuff. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that I need that many mana dorks after playing with the deck. And I'm fine with. I'd rather have these 4 removal spells. So to start it off, I've got 2 Abrupt Decays. Abrupt Decay can't be countered, and it's an instant, and it costs a black and a green, and destroy an on-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. There's a lot of permanents with converted mana cost, non-land permanents with converted mana cost 3 or less. I can blow up. Detention Sphere is a big one. Oh my gosh, Detention Sphere is huge. I can blow up Domri Rod, another creature thing, non-land permanent. That really gets in my way. A bunch of creatures. I can blow up. What other non-land permanents are there? Sometimes Pithing Needle names things that I don't like it to name, and I get to blow Pithing Needle up. Yeah, there are a lot of things, and I just can't think of them right now. The white weenie decks, I can blow up any of their creatures, get rid of them. Precinct Captain is a creature that I can't let hit the board and keep hitting me. Because once they just get a bunch of 1/1s, then that's it. If I can't, make a board state and hit a whip soon enough, then Precinct Captain takes over the board if I don't have something to block it, like Sylvan Kerryd did, which happens sometimes. And then the other one is Hero's Downfall. Hero's Downfall is a card that costs 2 black and colorless. At instant speed, I get to destroy a creature or planeswalker. So it's an instant Dreadball. I can kill a lot of things with this card. Elspeth is a really, really good card. It's really good against this deck, too. Destroying it is really good. So that's the main board. And now we're going to go into the sideboard. The sideboard's still in the works. I haven't messed around with the sideboard as much. But I'll show you guys. I've got 2 Ultimate Price. I'm in love with this card. I think this is a lot better than Doomblade, at least against my meta. Right now at my shop, the only thing that Doomblade can hit that Ultimate Price can't, that's a problem, is Boros Reckoner. I mean, yeah. Right now, where at my shop, where I am, Ultimate Price is a lot better than Doomblade, and I also like it a lot more than Doomblade. Yeah, Ultimate Price. Super good when I have to play against stuff like Desecration Demon and other monocolored cards. What is the next card? Okay, we've got our our Thoughtseize package, which consists of a Thoughtseize and 2 Duress because I only own 1 Thoughtseize. Soon to be 2. Thoughtseize picks cards out of my opponent's hand that I don't want to be there. There are a lot of cards I don't like my opponent to have. Mainly, there's the Esper deck has a lot of stuff that I don't like. Detention Sphere is a card that I hate. Same thing with Sphinx's Revelation and Elspeth, and getting them out of the way is really important. And Thoughtseize can get them out of the way early before I have to get rid of them. Before I have to deal with them, like when they're on the board. And Sphinx's Revelation I can't deal with when because it's an instant, it's not a permanent, I can't blow it up. Now we have Lifebane Zombies. You might notice that these are Putrefies, because I don't own any Lifebane Zombies. Putrefy. Lifebane Zombie is a card that hits green and it's colors into black for a 3/1 Intimidate, and when it enters the battlefield, opponent reveals their hand, and I make them discard, or maybe it's exile, I can't remember, a green or white creature. Yeah, it rips Polychronos' Prophet of Crufix's deck that's running around in my meta, and that deck runs a lot of big stuff. I didn't know that Prime Speaker of Zagana was as scary as it is, and listen to me when I say that Prime Speaker of Zagana is really good when it enters the battlefield. The main phase after the instant speed Arbor Colossus that became monstrous, it's good. I mean, like, Prophet is pretty sweet, and Lifebane Zombie can rip Prophets, Arbor Colossus, Polychronos, it can rip Precinct Captains, white dudes, little white weenie dudes. It hits Blood Baron of Vizkopa. I'm about to go on a tangent here, because I hate Blood Baron of Vizkopa with a passion. My deck can't deal with Blood Baron of Vizkopa. Looking through my sideboard, the ways that I can deal with Blood Baron of Vizkopa. Main board. I can block it with Nemesis Immortals. That's it. Sideboard. I can rip it out of their hand before they play it with Thoughtseize or Putrefies. Or, not Putrefies, Lifebane Zombies. That card is so good, and no matter what deck I play, I can't beat it. It's so dumb. It's so good. So good. I despise it. I've got another Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay is pretty good. And I had a third, so I just threw it in here because I'm still experimenting with the sideboard. Below the Detention Sphere, which is a big deal, and other stuff like that. I've got 2 Nihilia's Disciple. Probably these are going to be replaced. I don't like Nihilia's Disciple. Sometimes it gives me a lot of life when it enters the battlefield. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's dead in my hand. I'd rather have. I'm going to have a third Whip sideboard, and these cards aren't as good as Whip. Like, simple as that. I mean, they make my Nightcaller 1 bigger. They make my Nemesis 1 cheaper. Like, when they're in the graveyard after they're dead. It's just not good enough. I need to replace them. Next, we've got a Deadbird Shen. Deadbird Shen is really good in long grindy games. Against Esper and stuff, they start just controlling the board, and then I drop Deadbird's Chant, Ghoulish Salvage for 10, and then start randomly throwing stuff onto the battlefield, or into my hand. And sometimes it's really good, because a Nightcaller that is randomly reanimated, or a Jerrod, or a Nemesis is really good. Yeah, super good in the grindy games, because Esper, I'm pretty sure that Esper doesn't have a win condition, like, ever. They just mill themselves out over and over again, which is pretty dumb, actually. Like, and then they play, like, one Elspeth, and then, like, sometimes Blood Baron, and it's pretty stupid, and I hate it. Gogarah Charm. This is a really good card. Should have gotten an FNM promo, because it's better than the ones that did. Gogarah Charm has 3 abilities. Not 2, but 3. Just like all the other ones. I can regenerate each creature I control. The least used of the abilities, but sometimes it's good. I mean, I get Supreme Verdict, and I can just be like, oh, Gogarah Charm. Next, I can destroy an enchantment. Sometimes destroying an enchantment is very good. The best ability on this card, though, is giving all creatures -1/-1. Every creature in my deck survives Gogarah Charm, besides post sideboard Lifebane Zombie and Elvish Mystic. I want Elvish Mystic in my graveyard, and if the Lifebane's on the battlefield, it's already kind of done its job. I mean, I like that it's an evasive creature, but if it's in my graveyard, it's still doing a good job. And blowing out the white weenie decks is still really good. And if I am playing against white weenie decks, I'm probably not bringing in Lifebane Zombie, because they don't really have any threats. Honestly, like, I can hit a Soldier of the Pantheon. Soldier of the Pantheon or Priest Encounter are probably the only things that I would try and hit with that card out of their deck. I mean, I know that it would almost never be dead, because, like, everything that they run is white, but I don't know. But -1/-1. So good. So good. There's also that Rakdos deck that won the GP in, like, South America. I was messing around with that deck for a while. It's pretty good. Madcap Skills is super duper good. And sometimes I run into that. Sometimes I slide into Gogarah Charm, and by sometimes I mean all the time, and then sometimes they lose. And once again, I mean all the time, because Gogarah Charm blows them out. Like, there's almost nothing in their deck that has more than 1 toughness. Which makes it very good. So yeah, that's just fun Dredge deck I've been playing. If you guys want to test it out, you definitely should. I'm going to be coming to you guys with another video, probably an EDH deck, maybe Modern. I'm still working on my Standard deck. I am super excited for the Standard deck, though. Oh my gosh, because I get to play my favorite card of all time, or one of which is Dragon Shift. Oh my gosh, Dragon Shift is the nuts. And hopefully I'll get to show you guys that deck in a couple of days. Maybe after Friday. It might take a little while, because I have to get some kind of very playable cards. But yeah, this was my Dredge deck. I'm Tuck the Duck 131, and I'll see you guys later.